This podcast was created by fans or fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark Channel. This is Eric.
This is Sydney.
And this is Hallmark Mysteries.
And more.
Hello, Sydney.
Hi, Eric. How's it going?
It's going well. So, did you wear your hair special tonight for Allie to take care of it for you?
Oh my gosh. Are you saying that because it looks like someone needs to help me?
So what's funny, I went and got my hair cut yesterday. And as I was getting it cut, I finally, I don't go around telling the world I do a Hallmark podcast.
Of course.
Certain circle knows. And, but so I was talking to the woman who cuts my hair knows I do something, but she didn't know exactly what it was. I'm like, and I just sort of, I guess in the excitement and the enthusiasm for tonight's topic, I'm like, oh yeah, my podcast tomorrow is all about a hair, stylist and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, I guess I just told her how cool I am with my cool Hallmark mystery podcast.
Well, you are super cool and you're dressed like Steve Jobs tonight, which, wow.
My mock, I am a very proud holder on of the mock turtleneck.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a good look. I mean, it was a good uniform for him. So why not?
I have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of, because they're actually like running shirts. But they're the mock turtleneck, and for whatever reason, I always keep them zipped up. My wife keeps trying to talk me into whatever, undoing a little bit. And I'm like, no, she's not as big fan of the mock turtleneck as I am.
So, well, if you could be like a mystery guy, and at the beginning you're all buttoned up, and by the end you're like footloose and fancy free.
I am. We'll do the throwback. So when Aurora Teagarden, something almost new or sort of new, the next one comes out, they'll have me in there because I'll be right in fashion in the late 2000s with my my mock turtleneck.
You will. So crazy.
Now that Madison's off in jail, they'll need somebody to come in, and I will do it.
Yeah,
but I guess I got to get that role of dead guy number 2 first, so I can just prove my acting chops to Hallmark, move on up to Vancouver, take some acting classes with JC and Madison, and get my first Hallmark gig.
Okay, well, if you're dead guy number 4, then I'll be lady at coffee shop.
But I want you being one who gets in a huff and walks out.
Yeah.
So you're mad. You're at the cookie jar, and you get mad that they gave you latte and scone that just don't go well together.
So you leave in a huff. Excuse me, this blueberry scone does not go with this honey lavender latte.
Okay? I wanted coconut milk. You gave me almond milk.
What kind of establishment is this? You're just too busy solving murders to get my order right.
Yes, come on. Speaking of which,
what?
The appearance of let's see, what's her name appears to be coming back to the long lost sister.
This, did we? No, we didn't. Yes. But we were hoping.
Well, we were saying that we thought it was just a scheduling thing, and there was no reason that she wasn't back. Like, it wasn't, when they switched to the Hannah Swenson, sister. It wasn't like she couldn't continue. So guessing it turned out to be a scheduling thing. But when we see the next one, it's like Zest for Death or something, I think, which isn't it's not one of the books. So they just made up, they decided, you know what, we're not following the book anyhow. Why even pretend?
So wait a minute. We can tell a couple things. So we think that the OG sister is coming back, and this is not based off of a real book. So I'm going to guess there might be a wedding in here.
Ooh,
What
Norman
if
and
there's a
Hannah.
little elopement because the sister's back? I mean, that's kind of a big deal. It's not a real novel. I mean, what if?
Right. She's leaving Detective Mike for all his shenanigans for stable Norman.
We know that she's going to end up with Mike, especially if her OG sister is coming back because she was married to his buddy.
Okay. So speaking of going back in circles and all around which ways, so you did those excellent posts this week with the sleuther style. We did our review last week of our top movies of 2023. But then this past weekend, you did that excellent post of the top sleuther style women on Saturday and top sleuther style men. So who did you vote for who was your top woman?
This is
What, you
like,
didn't vote?
oh yeah, but it was
Okay.
like choosing a, a child or something. I don't
I've got
know.
my favorite.
Well, my favorite was Birdie.
No, I was talking about, I have my favorite kid.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yes.
I don't have any yet. So
Cat.
Birdie and Alden were my favorites.
Oh, so you want straight up cases for both, huh?
I did, and that seems to be fitting with the overall feeling for me. What about you?
I did Birdie, and also I had Birdie would have been my number one, and Aurora would have been number two.
Okay, yes, I agree.
And then probably Goldie. I thought Goldie looks good. They got
Goldie
her
brought it.
looking fantastic. But I think also Goldie may just be a case of Nikki DeLoach is just super pretty, and you could, whatever she wears. I think if we ran into Nikki at getting your lavender latte, I think that's probably what she would be wearing. I think Goldie is pretty much Nikki. That's my opinion. I haven't ever gone to the coffee shop with her, but and then the guys I chose, despite my disdain for him, I did choose Detective Mike.
Wow.
I got my issue with all. I don't understand his darn coats. We talked to Nicole. You tried explaining it. Nicole tried explaining it. I just don't get his coats as I'm sitting here in my mock turtleneck.
I know. That's okay. You don't have to. And you know what? You have an opinion and that matters. So.
And you know what? Everyone can just have your opinion. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be right.
Yes.
So there's no right. There's no wrong. All right. So we are, as people have probably gathered and said in our post today, we are discussing cut color murder, though Hallmark gets a little bit dyslexic themselves and sometimes calls it color cut murder. And if you go to their website and you go to their about, they get it backwards themselves. But cut color murder is what we are going to be discussing tonight. And this movie is when a beauty pageant creator is found dead, a savvy, not just a hairdresser, a savvy hairdresser works with a detective and risks everything to clear the names of those she loves, starring Julie Gonzalo and Ryan McPartlin. Does she really risk everything?
I was going to say, apparently she loves Stan because that's who was gonna get it.
Well, no, remember her sister was
I know, but that was brief
for like 2 minutes. But yeah,
I will say she risks everything, but it's not for necessarily the ones she loves.
You know what? I just realized something. Maybe in addition to Dead Guy number 3, I think I should become the new writer of the snippets for Hallmark.
Yeah, agreed.
Because we've had a couple of these that are just a little underwhelming. I think I could do better.
Or just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, from now on, I think I'm gonna write Hallmark and tell them I'd like to apply for this job. How much does it pay? What are my benefits? Do I get major holidays off?
Yeah,
I'd at least be able to get the name of the movie right.
that's true.
I wouldn't do color cut murder, which is on their about page. So
Yeah.
okay. As I mentioned, this movie stars Julie Gonzalo, Ryan McPartlin. The writers don't know who they are. They haven't really written many other Hallmark things. They haven't written any of the other mysteries, any of that stuff. The director, though, she is Stacy Harding. Stacy N. Harding, in case you confuse her with some of those other Stacys. But she did a show called which I actually enjoyed. Well, I enjoyed the first season. I didn't really necessarily enjoy the second season. But did you ever watch Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
Oh my gosh, no, but it was talked about. I remember it being kind of a thing.
Yeah, the first season is like one of those shows that was really innovative and cool, but it just didn't have the legs to keep going. Kind of like our concern with the Dancing Detective, right?
Hmm.
Like, hey, it's good. We really enjoy it. Ooh, but can you stretch it out once the novelty wears off? And that's kind of what I think happened in Zoe. It just couldn't sustain the like she could hear people's thoughts in song. So it's kind of interesting. And so they bust in these little mini musicals and stuff, which was
Yeah.
fun. But um all right, we've really digressed because we're on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, and we're supposed to be talking about color,
Cut,
murders,
color, murder,
murder, cut,
murder,
color,
cut, color. Okay.
murder,
Murder.
cut. You know what? I'm feeling my inner Dara right now with the confusing of
Mr.
all the names.
Blistery,
Yes,
Mystery.
Dara, where are you? All right.
It's another one.
Okay, but before we get talking about the movie, I'm really tired of having to carry the entire show by making the cocktails lately.
Oh my
You're off your
God.
medication. Have you stepped back up? Have you entered the bar?
Yeah, I have.
What do you have for us?
Oh my gosh. Well, what should you make for cut, color murder?
I don't know. I think
You
it should have 7 different names, though.
you should make Miss Golden Peak.
Nice.
So, yes, Miss Golden Peak is a lovely mixture of pear and ginger syrup, Saint Germain, lemon juice, and prosecco.
Ooh,
It's a
sounds
little
light and
golden.
fun.
Yeah, it's golden and it's something definitely refreshing to drink when you've won the Miss Golden Peak pageant.
Okay, you know what else it is? As I'm thinking about the movie and like all the pageant moms
Yeah.
and Mitzi, this is
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I think, a drink. I would see them as they are
Mm-hmm.
doing their little, nice to you, knife in the back. Oh, I guess it is knife to you, scissors in the back. But as all their little, snarkiness and
Uh-huh.
everything. Perfect drink. Great drink.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Eric.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get going on Ellie and Detective Kyle Crawford, but also Sheriff. What was it? Sheriff Frank? Sheriff Fred? Fred, I think.
I think it's Fred.
Yeah, Sheriff Fred. He was a cool guy. All right. So what did you like about this movie? I know it was your favorite of 2022.
It was. You know what? I just liked all of the characters right off the bat. I
No,
didn't.
no, you can't say that. That's my
What?
number one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to be more unique. You can't steal
Oh,
mine.
okay. Well, how about I loved the mother? The mother was just great when she makes her stumble entrance in the beginning.
Wait,
She's like,
Sydney, stop. You're stealing all mine.
I'm sorry.
I loved the beginning was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
The,
And
the,
I enjoyed that.
but it was like the mom who was just like coming in like, whatever, I'm breaking in the house at 2 a.m. But then Chelsea, the sister, which that what I had in my notes is how she grabs the blow dryer. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? But then they get there and responsible Allie confronts her And then little Chelsea's like, well, was he cute? Like,
Yeah.
love the scene. Great scene. So, okay.
And is it my imagination or like, okay, I had the hardest time gauging like where this took place at first because I thought someone said Boise, but then I thought someone said Ohio, and the mom sounds like she's from New Jersey. And then,
Definitely was not New
like,
Jersey.
yeah, I
Well,
know it ended up being Idaho, I
the
think.
yeah, Boise is where the Darren guy, the MC, he's going off to go to like hello Boise, the big time.
Yes.
Boise's big time for him. And then Columbus, Ohio is where Detective Kyle came from.
Right.
So that's where all those came. But
And
yeah,
then
I
the sheriff
believe
looked
it
like
was
he was
Idaho.
in Texas with his hat and everything. I was like, I was all over the place with these characters at
The
first, but
Golden
I loved
Peaks.
them.
See, I thought when he was saying going to Boise, I assumed it was Idaho too, but for some reason I got some Colorado vibe somewhere in there too. So I think maybe they
Yeah.
mentioned Colorado. Maybe they should have been like, instead of Cut Color Murder, should have been like Murder Atlas or something. They
It
dropped a
felt
lot of
kind of all
places.
over the place. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
where are we? Where are
But
we
hey, forget
going?
that because we're talking about what we liked. What else did you like?
Okay.
All right, go back. You can
Well,
go back to the characters. Go back to the
um,
characters.
you know what? I don't remember thinking this the first time, but now that I'm rewatching it, I feel like um Kyle and Allie had definitely like the precursor to Travis and Amy chemistry. Now that's a bold statement, but I feel like it was there. I feel like her little nitpicky things and then his little like not trusting her at first, but he was quick to trust her in the end. Like, that was very much like how murder or mystery 101 went. It was very much like he trusted her by the end. Like there was potential for working together.
Huh. I didn't get it, but okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah. And I honestly thought that she just gave off kind of those sassy Jill Wagner vibes that we really enjoyed, and the astute like observing type
Yeah.
of like that really reminded me of that. And also I enjoyed the whole dark, moody dream sequences of it all, I think
Yeah.
that was kind of gritty and interesting. And then I loved her the coffee spill scene and the end the door scene. Like where
Oh,
she
and she like
knocks the coffee
purposely.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
thought those were pretty
I'm
good.
not thinking about you. No, no, I'm not thinking about you. Funny.
Yeah,
Like
but
going
then
back to junior high when
yes. But they had those moments and I think those kind of playful moments really like help.
well,
What do you
I agreed with you that I thought the characters, and I just basically started listing them, and I'm like, oh, I could go to them all because I like something about all of them. Allie, like you
Yeah.
said, she was definitely had a nice little snarkiness to her. She had some, pretty good zingers.
Yeah.
Um, the mom was, yes, she was just funny. Um, I was like wondering if we do our would you rather, and I was like going to do who would you rather your mom be, Ada or her, but I don't know if Cut Color has enough of an audience to let her stand a chance against a character who's been around for 18 movies like Mary
Yeah.
Lou there. But yeah, I just found her just you know who she was more like Dolores a little bit, I think maybe.
I have that in my notes. I said down when we review style, I say she could be
Okay.
like Dolores.
But then the sister Chelsea, who I normally like, she's in college, so I guess she's not necessarily a kid. But usually the youngsters annoy me. But I thought she was a really cute, fun character, so I didn't mind her. The sheriff, I liked him because he didn't even try to pretend like he was the guy who knew anything. He was just pretty much like, yeah, Ellie runs the show. he cracked me up. And like he said, and he had that big old 10-gallon hat that he'd wear around. Thought that was fantastic. And then Darren Booth, the MC, who's all excited. Like he's just what you think of as a weatherman for, I'm going big time, going hello Boise. So, which I want to know, Golden Peaks obviously is big enough to have their own like little TV station because he's working somewhere. But
Yeah.
like I could just run down the little caddy moms, the manicure pedicurist. She was fun. Like
Mhm.
all the characters, great. I thought they did a really good job just building a bunch of characters too. Um, then one of the things at the end when I really enjoyed and I thought it was great was when Ellie stops the killer by opening the door into her face. And
Yes.
but that look that she gives her, like the "oh no you don't" look, it was Julie Gonzalo just like crushed it with that. Didn't have to say a word, just her look said everything that had to be said. Plus the killer who got smashed in the face with that little doing whatever, that's got hit in the face. I love
Yeah.
that little scene. Um, I also thought that the mystery, it just was and we'll talk about it, more when we get down to that part, but it was a good mystery. The whole time they had a lot of red herrings and, often, and the funny thing is I knew who it was because
Mhm.
obviously I've seen it. This is probably my third go around. But I just, when I watched it, this time being just more critical and just taking notes, I'm like, you really don't know. The red herrings are all valid as opposed to some of them
Mhm.
like we talked about, in the Dancing Detective. You just know it's not those people because it can't be. It's too obvious. It's just whatever. And with this one, you're like, it's obvious, but then it's not obvious. But the wait, no, it is obvious. No, it's not obvious. And the killer turns out to be obvious.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just a good mystery. I liked, and it kind of goes like to your dreams as well. The backstory, they did a really good job creating backstory throughout this,
Mhm.
which also the ending. I mean, great ending,
Mhm.
great ending with that little. Though the one thing I will say, I don't quite understand where the pictures that were just right there came from,
Yeah.
but like someone while she's sitting there talking at the gravesite just sneaks up behind her and drops him on the ground next to her because you think when she sat down she would have noticed it, but didn't get that. Whatever. But I thought just like when you see that picture, like da da da,
Yeah.
great little cliffhanger there. So
Well, it feeds into like when she says, I feel like I recognize your
yeah,
face
yeah,
from somewhere. And you're like, oh, it's
yes,
foreshadow.
she does.
I never forget a face. Ooh.
Though I don't, I don't know where like those pictures. Was there any context where those pictures were taken? Obviously, that had something to do with her husband's death, but
Somewhere where he was wearing a scarf.
so back in Columbus, maybe. Um, Columbus, ugh, Ohio. I hate Ohio. Sorry, anyone from Ohio, but I hate Ohio.
Okay,
Um,
don't hate us.
all right. Speaking now that we're in a hater mood, what was there
Oh my
anything? This was your
God.
favorite movie, but was there anything you didn't like?
Oh my gosh. No, I can tell you there was not. I mean, the only thing that I didn't like was how confusing it was at first for me to figure out where they were. Um, and
Geography.
then I thought it was kind of ridiculous that she was like, that was $50 for your haircut, and she cut like three
Well,
hairs.
because he said not bad. You
Yeah,
don't you
still.
don't you don't diss Allie and her hair cutting. I will
Yes.
say,
Um,
though I did have that in my I didn't like is they didn't even pretend to like do haircuts. She would just sit behind everybody and like air cut their back of their hair and be like,
yeah.
okay, you're done. Like, what it reminded me of? Did you watch the was it what was it, Dance Moms, or the one with Chelsea Hobbs? And
Oh,
what's
yeah,
her name?
yeah. What was it?
Like
The
what the
Sing
dancing there.
Moms or okay.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like the dancing there. Like she can dance, and they didn't even really choreograph a real routine for her. But I think like they could have at least had her like combing the hair up and doing things so it really looked, but as opposed to standing behind not even like looking where she's cutting, just sort of looking where she's talking,
Yeah.
supposedly cutting the back. So that annoyed me, but you know, it's Hallmark, so what the heck. But I think they could have done a little bit, a little bit better there. But
I think she had the lingo down though, where
yeah,
like, you know how like the way she stood and like talked was very
I
much like a
I
hairdresser.
I
But yeah, the
agree.
cutting.
I think the scenes in there where I thought like they had really good, fun, like salon vibe and everything going, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just think they could have, and it wouldn't be like if they even if they needed to do, because it's probably like, oh, we don't want to mess up hair because it takes so
Of
long,
course.
but do that shot the last in it, right? You can just do the stuff, and at the end of the day, okay, Ryan, your hair is going to get messy, so we're going to
Oh
comb it.
my
She's going to comb it
gosh.
and do whatever. Which
And Mitzi's hair looked so fake in the beginning. That was like, I was like, of course this is a wig.
uh, okay. The other thing I didn't like, and I know it's Hallmark, and I know we're supposed to have our busybody and stuff, but when Allie goes in and blatantly like breaks the law, stealing the evidence of the video, downloading it, like that's not just being nosy. That's like darn right felony what she's
Yeah.
doing there. So that kind of just, and then like I say, I know it's the Hallmark thing, and we have for a cozy mystery, you have to have the you know the sleuther doing things they're not supposed to do, but like that one, and we talked about it before. Like you were, I forget what it was it was Hannah, right? When she was doing her snooping in the guy's house,
Yeah.
like there, but that's like, yeah, this is just
It's
like
icky.
full out felony. So that kind of just bothered me. But you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't like that big of a you know, well, I guess it is a big deal, but it whatever. It was just something that annoyed me. And then
Yeah.
I'll say the other thing that right now annoys me is I mentioned earlier what a great cliffhanger ending it was.
Mm-hmm.
It annoys me that we have not heard of color cut color,
Color cut
murder,
murder.
100 mystery one, but it's annoyed me we have not heard that there is, you know, part two coming, because that was just too good of a cliffhanger
I
that you
know.
can't end it. And so I'm annoyed that it hasn't come yet. And I'm the optimist. I do believe it will come. I don't think Hallmark would do that to us. And if they did, there'd be some valid reason. They're not just these evil people, but damn it, if you're going to do these, you not know you're going to do another one. You can't do a cliffhanger like that.
Yeah.
Just not right to just not right to the fans.
Yeah. And you know, but speaking of things that aren't right, it was pretty rude of her to lead that guy on too, just to take him out so she could interrogate him.
Well, I thought she took him out even worse so that Detective Kyle could come. Like she set him up like, I'm going to bring you to the bar so Detective Kyle can come take over.
Nah. She wanted to, she said yes to a date with him, and then he like interrupted that date because her sister was in the slammer. Like she got
Okay.
called, and then they came back
But when they went to the bar,
the second time around when they went is because she invited him back out and said, oh well, you know, last time our you know,
okay.
our time got interrupted. Then it gets interrupted by the detective again after she's already kind of accused him. And then later on, she confronts him in a parking lot. And it's like each time, he thinks that you're into him, but you're really just interrogating him. And it was kind of messed up.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she took him to the bar to make it so Detective Kyle could interrogate him, but I guess Detective Kyle doesn't need her to do that. So yeah, I guess you're right. With I overread her deviousness in it. But Ellie, you did him wrong, especially because he was not not guilty.
Yeah.
But he is guilty for caring too much for the trees because
Oh, come on.
he didn't like Mitzi because Mitzi wanted to cut down a tree.
She would.
So okay. So it's time to move on and talk about the mystery, right?
Yeah.
So what did you think about the mystery?
I thought it was intriguing. Like, who doesn't love a pageant? I thought it was very intriguing because of that. You got the glamour and the beauty and the intrigue, and also you had the underlying mystery that was kind of happening, which I will say was very reminiscent of Haley Dean. I was like, oh, there's someone's husband was killed and like he was a
Okay.
police officer. Or I don't know if Haley Dean, I know her brother-in-law is a police officer, but
What was Hallie's husband?
I don't know. I thought he was a police officer. Either way, it reminded me of that, you know? It was very in keeping with that whole theme of the husband was shot by a killer and you were there maybe and you didn't. Well, I don't know if she was there
Well, I
because
think
she
no,
was
no,
there in the
no. All right,
dream.
we're gonna have to go back and maybe this summer do a deep dive in the Hallie Dean because I think she was there, but she has like amnesia, if I'm remembering correctly,
Yeah, but was
or
Allie
PTSD.
there? Because she was in the dream that she had, her
Yeah, she said
nightmare.
I thought she said she got there and couldn't do some. I thought that's what she
Okay.
said,
I think, yeah.
but you're right. Maybe I'm confusing it with the dream. But no, I think I'm pretty sure she was there.
Yeah. Well,
So
it did have some slow points, but that didn't bother me. And I thought the ending was really good. And the first time I watched it, I didn't guess the killer because I
yeah,
felt like
I didn't either.
there were so many viable options. There were some really good jump scares. And I enjoyed and I kind of already mentioned this, I enjoyed like the overall moody look to it. I felt like the lighting was darker. I felt like just the overall mood was a bit more moody.
Well, I guess a lot of the if you think about it, a lot of the mystery did take place, or the scenes, whatever, took place at night.
Like in the
Whereas
evening, yeah.
normally a lot of stuff happens maybe during the day, whereas this one, a lot of things happened at night,
And the
almost everything at
salon
night.
had a moody look to it. It was like a little bit darker tones and stuff.
Okay, let's see if you're paying attention. This was our one of our trivia questions a couple like month ago. What was the name of the salon?
Oh, Mona's
Monarch.
Monarch.
Sydney.
Okay.
You're losing your sleuther card.
All right.
And
What did you think of the mystery, Eric?
like I said before, that was one of I thought the strengths, like we just talked about. Great red herrings, made everybody was a viable suspect other than Chelsea. Like, yeah, you knew the sister obviously wasn't going to be
Yeah.
it, but she also got cleared pretty quickly. But then you could really see anybody doing it. And then I thought it was very interesting how she broke the case. Like that was a really good. It wasn't sometimes in the like discovery of how it was. It's a little bit silly, kind of have to take a big leap of faith of how they figured out who the killer was. But for this one, like dancing detective. She's dancing. Oh, look, we're dancing on stone. Yeah, it's called, or no, we're dancing on terror, whatever you call that stuff. Oh yeah, that means stone. Oh my gosh, it's Stone the killer. You know, like some of these weird jumps for solving this one, whereas she
Mhm.
really did deduce it. So I thought the mystery was pretty good all around. I gave it a when we
Yeah.
get down to our score, I gave it a pretty good score there. Body count.
You know what? I put two because we're talking about two bodies. There was only one for the mystery, but
Oh,
there's
you're right.
one in the other mystery. So,
The backstory body.
you
And as
know,
we learned in the whatchamacallit, Hannah, you can go back many years. Jane detective or Jane mystery, you can go back many years. So yeah, we have no timeline on our dead bodies. We'll take. Did they ever say what her husband's name was? They had
Dan,
it. Dan?
Dan Reed.
Okay. Um, dead Dan. We'll count him. He's dead. Okay. Two, we'll say two dead bodies.
Okay.
All right. Last is style.
So, can we just highlight Hallmark breakfasts for a moment?
You can highlight
They,
whatever you want. I'll say right now, and this will get through in there. The style is going to be all your conversation because I found there to be like not bad style, not good style, just yeah.
like
So
blase. uh, they, when they wake up the next morning, they are eating the most beautiful plates of pancakes and strawberries I have ever seen. And then, in true Hallmark style, they are too busy to finish these beautiful breakfasts and they leave. And
but I thought
I'm
Chelsea, I thought no, I think Ellie was, but then didn't Chelsea go, okay, I'll take it.
then she's just eating fruit. She
Eh,
did no one was eating the pancakes, which was also bothering me, but maybe those were really fake.
maybe they're gotta keep those carbs low.
And I was going to mention how Allie's mom has really great style
Wait.
and
I just realized what you said. You think they're actually fake pancakes? Is
maybe,
that possible?
I don't know.
We did when we talked to her, she did talk about how they use fake flowers because they have to be in takes for so long. And maybe you're right. Maybe the pancakes were fake.
Maybe
We
they
have a
are.
mystery on our hands. We need to all right, we need to talk to someone on this movie so we can find out.
I think so. But yeah, Allie's mom had great style. I feel like she's kind of her own version of Dolores. Like she definitely has the potential to become Dolores. She's very extra like Dolores. And the costume designer was Tina Fioronda, I think, or I don't know how to spell it. Fiorinda. I don't know, but she did a great job. I would have liked to see more effort with the pageant looks. I feel like those dresses were kind of lackluster for a pageant, especially after seeing the wardrobe and the Jane mysteries. I think this was filmed during COVID though, so there probably were less resources, but I don't know.
They did
That's my
have the
thought.
girl in her doing her soccer. I don't know what you call that when you bounce it on your knee, her
Yeah.
hockey sack soccer stuff in her little t-shirt and soccer shorts.
I was like, what is this?
So that's her skill. Gotta have skill. Um, yeah, I agree. Like the though I will say Chelsea's hair was fantastic when she won. But yeah, her dress, like just all in all. But they're also there in Golden Peaks. You know what when they go down to get their dress, they're probably having to go to like, I don't know, J.C. Penney or the dime store to get their dress in Golden Peaks. I don't think they have the fancy stores there.
This is not reality. This is Hallmark, Eric.
Hallmark
Anything
is
is
reality.
possible. Okay. They could have ball
I know
gowns in
you can
Golden
get
Peak.
haircuts by just waving scissors over the head that magically
I
you end
gave
up
you
with a
one right
$50
now.
haircut.
I gave you one right now, Eric.
Oh, thank you. I love what you done with the nape. Is that the back, right? Isn't that the nape?
Yeah.
The back. I love what you've done to the nape of my hair here. Fantastic.
Oh my
People
gosh.
have very, very trimmed, very coiffed napes in Golden Peaks.
Yeah.
I will say style, like Detective Kyle, he nothing special. He looked like a detective,
He was
but
so he's handsome.
that's what I was gonna
So
say. Is
handsome.
he's he's got good hair.
He knows how to
Really
wear a
good
trench coat.
without being creepy.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you know what? I take it back. In fact, I may have to adjust my style. No, I'm keep it up there. I loved Sheriff Fred. He had great style. That was just that like little small town sheriff look. He nailed it.
Good
All right. I guess with all that wrapping up, we will get into our scoring. I think we're going to start out a little bit different with the steam meter. Where were you?
I was at a 6 because I feel like there was potential and there was definitely some flirting towards the end, but there wasn't a ton. And I wish there was more.
I gave it a 2.
He
Like I said, they had a little banter, but I'll keep it as a little.
saved her.
He did. Well, no, she saved him. Well, no, you're right from the fire.
I'm like, what are
But
you
that's
talking
not
about,
okay.
man?
So you're talking literally steam because there's a fire. I'm
Yeah.
talking romance steam here.
Okay.
Talking passion. He just did his detective job of saving her from the fire. Yeah, I didn't get it. Like I see the potential. I think they laid out potential and they definitely had, like I say, those little moments. And she did say, "Hey, Dead Dan, it's time for me to move on," which I think is inspired by Dead Dan and Cutie Kyle. That's what we'll go with. So I think she said, Dead Dan, time for me to move on to Cutie Kyle, until she found out Cutie Kyle is dun 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 Kyle. What's
Yeah.
he doing in the picture? Corrupt Kyle?
Especially with that scarf on. That was so not cute. That was the worst piece of clothing he wore.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. What would you want him to wear?
I
It's
don't
cold out.
know.
He doesn't want to
That
catch a cold.
scarf wasn't it. It should have been a nice plaid or something.
So I guess all that praise you just gave the woman we can't pronounce her name, you're now dissing her, but that's fine.
No, it's just one.
She's not on Instagram as far as I can tell. I tried finding her, so she'll never know that you were so mean.
Okay. You were
Okay.
mean too. Dan. Jeez.
Dan. Wait, there is an actor who plays him, so I guess he does, yeah. All right. The story. Where do you give the story?
I gave it a 7 because I love a good pageant drama story.
I gave it an 8 because I thought they just did such a great job with developing backstories for a lot of the characters, and they did have some witty. I guess the story goes with the writing too. They did have this witty banter between them, and once again, like pulling
Yeah.
out the blow dryer and mom, was he cute? So
Yeah.
I thought that was great. The mystery.
I gave it a 7. I thought it was decent and I thought the underlying mystery
Wait,
added to it.
this is your favorite one. Do you remember that?
Hey,
You gave
I'm
your favorite one a
trying
7. I gave it an 8. And it wasn't even
I'm
my favorite.
trying to be
Jeez.
fair here. I've seen a lot of good mysteries.
I know, but that was your favorite. Jeez. I'd hate to see what the one when we do Francesca Quinn, I hate to see what that gets. Oh my.
Yeah, you will.
Or Nikki and Nora better get a 9. All right. I can't read my own handwriting. What do we talk? What's next? Oh, the acting.
It's acting. Yeah. I thought it deserved a 9 because I thought everyone played their parts really well. And there wasn't anyone that I was like, wow, that person stunk.
I 100% Agree. I gave it a acting and well, I gave it an 8. I gave him a bunch of 8s here. I thought the acting was really, really solid.
And there were so many good, like classic reoccurring Hallmark characters in it.
The other thing, I guess, why you can say this was good too is this had a lot of characters in it for a typical Hallmark movie. Like if you think like once again, Dancing Detective, you had like 7 characters maybe, whereas this had because you had all the shop, you had all the pageant moms and kids,
Yeah.
uh you had the family dynamic, you had the police force, so you had a lot of characters. And usually when you start getting a lot of those secondary ones like the manicure pedicurists, usually they're like got some local town who this is their first like good gig. But yeah, everyone was solid,
Yep.
so I give it an 8. Okay. Style.
I gave it a 7 because I liked it, but again, I feel like I didn't
The
enjoy the
scarf.
pageant looks and this. There you go, the scarf.
It would have been a 10 if it wasn't for that damn scarf.
Yeah, get that out of here. What about you?
All I know is I'm not wearing a scarf in our next recording. Of course, it is 110 here in Phoenix, so I probably
Oh
will
my
not wear
god,
a scarf to begin with, but
you're wearing a turtleneck.
I am. Well, it's because my office is about 47 degrees, so I
Oh
have
my
to bundle up to
gosh.
go to work. Our office is so cold. Um,
No.
I gave style a 5. And once again, middle of the road because I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was good. I think everyone was just dressed fine.
Hmm.
But I should bump it up to a 6 once again because of Sheriff Red and his hat. But I'm leaving.
Okay.
But I'm leaving it as a 5 because I stand by my convictions.
Okay.
I totaled 31. What do you total?
36.
So that's a 67. All right. I would have thought it'd be a little bit higher. You know what it was? That steam meter killed us for me.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just this is definitely one that needs another. We
Well,
need another.
here's the crazy thing too, because according to our little scale, a 67 means what we saw it, don't give it another watch. But I would definitely give this another watch,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
just didn't have a lot of for me, a lot of the heat in the fashion wasn't good. But if you got story, mystery, acting all as 8s, once again, I'm using my scores here. You were a little more evenly, you're up there at 36, so you're higher. Those are really the core things. Like the steam, it's a first mystery, so it's kind of hard to have too much steam in the first one because it develops. Which,
Hmm.
once again, as you said, that's why we need more.
Yeah.
Give us more.
Yeah.
I have seen now there's like the petition for the dancing detective. There's the petition for the cases. Maybe you need to start a little petition for cut, color,
Cut color
murder cut,
cut murder.
air cut. So
What will they call the second one? Because this doesn't have the colon. There's no cut color murder deadly shears.
yeah, they could just now start with it and then just go forward. First one
Yeah.
be like the first Mystery 101 was just Mystery 101, I think. I'm pretty sure. Oh no,
Okay.
we can't insult Mystery 101 people. They'll get all mad.
Yeah,
Um,
good nice one.
but
Nice
yeah, I'm
one.
pretty sure the first Mystery 101 was just Mystery 101. So cut color
Okay.
murder, deadly shears. But they can't do deadly shears because they've already just did this one should have been deadly
I know
shears.
that's why I said
So it would be like, ooh, suicide blonde.
Oh
No,
wow.
suicide's not a good. We need a murder. Um,
Uh
I don't know.
uh
Peroxide killer.
never
Just kidding.
shampoo twice.
That's shampoo in my eyes. I don't know. Someone, I guess, oh, I'm not doing a good job with my interview with Hallmark for that job of writing the descriptions right now. I should have
No.
something very clever. Darn it.
Yeah, sorry. Don't quit your day job or your evening job.
Okay, Hallmark executives, don't. I hope you've fallen asleep by this point of our podcast. You've tuned out. Everyone else, you should hopefully still be listening. In
Yeah.
fact, you should be listening so much and enjoying it so much that you want to tell a friend about the podcast, because we really appreciate what you do. That helps us grow, and we enjoy getting bigger, and mostly, of course, with the ego. But the other thing is just fun when we start seeing our name pop up in some articles or in like a Reddit and different places like that. That means people are starting to hear, and just the sleuther community, and everyone needs a home, and we are the home for sleuthers. So tell a friend
Yeah.
about our podcast. Give us a review if you want.
And if you're looking for more like the sleuther style posts we mentioned and lots of trivia and fun stuff, go follow us over on Instagram at Hallmark Mysteries and More.
I only have one request on there.
What?
If we do a question, if you want to just answer something that's completed, it's your favorite mystery, but it's not part of the question. We understand you. It's your favorite mystery. Just, we don't have to say it. It's probably getting on a soapbox here, but I just found, like, I felt bad because you did this post for the 2023 characters. And I think the costume designers in 2023, whether you're upset about any of your favorite mysteries being canceled or not, it's not the point. You're acknowledging what a great job these costume designers did. And I just found it kind of a little bit rude to be like, I don't like, I haven't seen any of the movies. Okay, great. Move on. You don't have to like kind of insult them, because
Yeah.
costume designers aren't responsible for making the decisions. And if you didn't like a mystery, I think you'd be hard pressed to say, like, I didn't like the mystery because whatever, Mike looked terrible in the cure, or carrot cake murder, or Andrew Walker is just terrible. We already said Nikki DeLoach is incapable of looking bad. So
Yeah.
I get on a little high horse, a little soapbox there. Sorry.
No, that's okay because it's important to have a nice, friendly, fun community. And that's what we're trying to foster here. So make sure that when you are commenting and liking, you're keeping that in mind.
Yes. And I think some people think I must like not be a fan of Mystery 101 because I try to keep it focused on this. I love Mystery 101. I think it's great. We talked to John Christian Plummer about what a great mystery it is.
Yeah.
But I like the new ones too. I accept Mystery 101. Sadly, we'll just be watching those 7 again in reruns, but they're still fun to watch.
Yes.
All right. You can also, we did our go over to our YouTube, same name, or the website, same name. And we have our little emoji game posted. Guess that Hallmark mystery. That's a fun one. People, it's a little harder, I guess, than I guess because I did it. It was easy for me to do well, so I knew what all the
You don't
emojis
even, you
were.
yeah, you're playing it. You know all the answers.
So, but I did well. What can I say?
Of course you did.
But yeah, people seem to be getting around 5 or 6 out of the 21. But go play. It's fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, we have a little ways to go until to our next mystery, but we do have a lot of fun podcast topics. We're going to be hitting some old movies, some other things that may surprise you. We even discussed about going across the pond and talking about, is that like a horrible phrase to say, across the pond? Is it like saying going to San Fran?
I
Okay.
think it's okay.
Okay. Well, we may pour a spot of tea and discuss some mysteries that normally maybe we don't get to see too much over here. So, all
Yeah.
right.
But you know what? They're often the influence of our favorite Hallmark mysteries.
They are.
So, yeah, we might check out some classic British mysteries.
And I will say that I'm a little bit frustrated that you and some of our followers have got me hooked on these British mysteries because my Hallmark rom-com are falling behind because I'm too busy binging all of these British mysteries now that I
know.
keep accumulating. They're good
I
stuff.
feel the same way.
Good stuff. Acorn. If you don't have Acorn, or you BritBox is the other one, right?
BritBox, yeah.
Or near a sleuther, you probably would enjoy those. But topic for a later podcast.
Yeah.
But for tonight, I think it's time to say goodnight.
All right. Well, it was fun, Eric.
Yes, I should say good morning since this drops at 3:00 in the morning, our time.
We're
Good
asleep,
morning,
though.
everybody. Good morning, everybody. Okay. All right, Sydney. Take care until next time.
Okay, you too.